Welcome back to the Blindsiders. I am Ben. I'm here with Dylan and Brian to talk about the finale of Survivor 49. And then maybe at the end, we'll do a little previewing the first Survivor 50. We got our first real look of the season beyond just knowing who the cast are. So we can maybe spend a little bit of time talking about that. But the vast majority of us is we're going to be talking about our brand new Survivor winner, Savannah Louie, who will also be on Survivor 50. So really fun to talk about. I think all of us we're probably leaning towards Savannah being the winner coming in. I would probably I think I said last week 55-45 Savannah versus Rizzo. But yeah.
I think we talked about in previous weeks. Also, hello. I was not here last week. We've talked about in previous weeks coming up to this that it felt like edit-wise, Rizzo was definitely getting more of the love of the winners edit. And I very much felt, and I think you said a great point, Ben, when we were texting, that you felt like the point of view to that point had pretty much been through Rizzo. And I almost felt like we watched it happen live in that episode where it seemingly switched from Rizzo to Savannah, at least from my eyes. I very early on felt like it was clear in this episode Savannah was winning at the end of this. That was a massive challenge for her. That she, and apparently this is not a popular opinion online with a lot of people. I think that she is, for me, clearly the best winner of the new era. I think that when you look back at this season in a couple of years, and I think when you look back at her game, the way she was kind of able to navigate through what was a pretty weak season player-wise, I think he did what a lot of other previous maybe middle era and old school winners have done, which is you finesse the bad players and kind of dominate your way through. And I think that she really did that. She's a very satisfying winner for me. I think more people will recognize that as time goes on, but there seems to be a very clear dislike for Savannah, both on the social medias. A lot of people I know, shout out Brian Wong, Mean Girl Lauren, who may be listening to this right now. Both of them were not originally big Savannah fans coming in. It seemed like they were pretty happy overall with the win, but I just wish that there was a much more celebration online with Savannah winning, because I felt like it was a very dominant win at the end. I think that she represents kind of everything I've wanted out of a winner to this point. Great final tribal, which I'm excited to talk about. I'm very happy, and I think that she is going to have a much easier path in 50 compared to Kyle and D. And I guess we'll see what information gets leaked to the players on there, and if they figure out that there's a winner on each tribe. But I'm very happy. I think the narrative at the end, although I think the editing for Savannah and Rizzo kind of flip-flopped for the most part. I'm very happy with the final episode. Everything played out. I think it was all positives, and which is quite the change from the start of the season where I said I was ready to stop watching Survivor altogether. So I'm glad that this is where we ended up.
Yeah, I enjoyed the season. Kind of just took it for what it was. My newer approach to Survivor these days. Maybe it leaves me not expecting much from the production, but hey, this has been an earned reputation over 5 years. So I thought Savannah was a really good winner. I liked that she wasn't in control the whole time, had to fight a little bit, granted, very much aided by some twists going on here, but I thought all in all, a very good winner. Challenge beast. I was hoping she was going to get that 5th challenge win, but we've talked a lot about it, and a lot of people have talked about it. Perhaps winning fire in front of the jury is more valuable than winning the final immunity challenge. So yeah, a really great game from her. Rizzo going out at 4. I can see why, someone like Carson didn't come back for 50, because like Rizzo and Carson fill a pretty similar niche, and they both went out in the same exact way. So yeah, all in all, I enjoyed it. Didn't enjoy it getting interrupted in the middle of it, but that's all right.
Yeah, I mean that's like the one thing you can't actually blame the show on. Yeah, I agree. I think that for me, I've been pretty unabashed that I really like both Savannah and Rizzo as players and characters, so pretty much the whole season. I don't really get this argument that like we shouldn't have players immediately coming back from 49 who they didn't see or whatever. I think that's a dumb argument. I think that Savannah and Rizzo, like if you're gonna make like a top 12 characters from the new era, I think that you can make an argument that Savannah and Rizzo are the top 12 characters of the new era. So I don't really, I'm not upset that they're on 50, and in fact, I'm happy that they're on 50. Yeah.
Have there been a twosome, even a threesome that have carried a season quite as much as Savannah and Rizzo? Like love them or hate them. Without Savannah and Rizzo in the season, this season
probably Wendell and Dom is like the biggest, maybe like other one you can point to.
This season is like bottom tier, bottom 5 Survivor without Savannah and Rizzo in this season.
It would be a very different season without those two. That's definitely for sure. No, I think that I agree with you, Ben, that they're two of the better characters that we've gotten in this new era. And really, Survivor has never, in my mind, done a bad job of picking somebody to come back immediately. I think, Rupert, Russell, Malcolm, Michaela, Zeke, like those are all great picks.
Amanda and James.
What was that? Amanda and yeah, like pretty iconic players, quite frankly. So I'm totally cool with people playing immediately. I actually think it's kind of fun.
Yeah, I think it adds another dynamic, right, to the season where there are these kind of two not like unknown entities by the rest of the cast, right? And like, it's historically happened. Like you said, literally every single returning player season that occurs on an even number. This has been the case. So like it would, like, I guess other than Winners at War, so like to Tommy didn't get.
You think he asked Tommy to come back?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Probably not, because I think that
not.
like I feel like we don't have to get that's a tangent.
I know they asked Chris Underwood to come back, so I was like, maybe they asked Tommy.
Maybe he said no. I don't know. I have no idea.
Yeah, I am surprised Savannah was like, let's fucking run it back. But maybe these 26 state seasons, it's a little easier to want to run it back immediately.
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't know. I think it makes sense. I'm not that surprised. I think that like both Savannah and Rizzo are like hyper competitive and both very much like enjoyed their experience and love the game.
I totally get it from Rizzo's point of view to be that close. Just I feel like if I was Savannah, like in that position, I would be like, I have $1 million. Do I need to go through this again? But then again, she might be like, when am I ever going to get another opportunity to play? So I get it. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, like, the thing is, like, it's unlikely, if you're talking about like a reputation standpoint, like it's unlikely any of these 3 winners are going to like hurt their reputation significantly on 50. Like, it hasn't really been like many cases in the past where like a winner has come back and like left with a bad reputation, even if they go out early. So yeah,
I don't think anyone holds it against Tina for being the first.
Yeah, or like Tom
All Stars
like that.
Yeah. No, great point.
Or
like, the 2 winners from Australian Survivor.
Yeah, like even JT, who I think is like the one example you might be able to point to because of the letter thing in HTV, and then like the like not bringing his idol when he was down in numbers on a swap on Game Changers, like I would say 2 really horrible blunders. Like I don't think anyone really like meaningfully demerits his Token Chains game because of that.
No. Yeah, I guess let's we have time to talk about 50 later. Let's talk about this finale. Exactly what everyone thought would happen happened. Savannah won immunity and Rizzo was safe with his idol. So that decision last episode to vote out Steven looms large.
So I did want to touch base on this, obviously, because I wasn't here last week. I've been swayed into the camp. As much as Sage has annoyed me this season, as much as I think that Sage kind of put on a very fake and phony show, even though for the most part, I think not necessarily liking Sage at the end of the season. I think that her as a person and a character kind of came together a little bit more towards the end. Once again, the whole thing with everybody hiding their past and their jobs, and like Sage, I forget if Sage was in the army or whatever form of military she was in. Savannah with the being a news anchor. Once again, nobody cares. Really, it's like really nobody. The viewers don't care. The people there don't care. Like, I don't think no one's gonna not give you $1 million because you're a lawyer or a doctor or a teacher or whatever. At that point, I do think that Sage voting out Steven, given the circumstances last week, ended up being the right choice for her. Clearly, ended up getting her into final 3. At the time, I hated it because once again, it's more the push. The same reason the frustrations with Sophie, even though I think Sophie ended up gambling and she lost, which is if she played that and it was an advantage that did not end at the beach or was not able to be stolen, and then it's a whole different story. So I think she ended up getting a really bad hand dealt to her with that. Although there were obviously other instances where, yeah, she could have took Rizzo's idol. I think that then opens her up to being the first person that they're going to vote out the next tribal if she doesn't win immunity. So it's kind of like, I respect So for sticking with her alliance. I've always said I respect people that stick with their alliance beginning to end. Obviously, to this point, it was detrimental to her game, but being someone that ends up in final tribal and ends up with 2 votes, that was better than what I thought was going to end up for Soph. So I am happy about that. Shout out Ben, fantastic pick this season, very, very good. But back to Sage though, yeah, I think overall the voting out of Steven, apparently everybody there thought Steven was like the clear winner, but before he was voted out, I don't know if that's the typical like, this person's the most dangerous person left in the game, which they say about everybody. I didn't have that read of Steven. Steven was probably, he's playing a good game. I still at that point didn't think he was playing better than Rizzo or Savannah, but maybe that extra social aspect that he had over them was kind of what was scaring everybody so much. So voting him out instead of going after Soph, I don't hate it now in retrospect. I hated it when it happened. I don't hate it now. But it was ironic because Sage 2 episodes earlier kept telling Sophie that she handed Savannah $1 million, where realistically, I do think the actions of Sage, the actions of Jawan, their constant flip-flopping, them not being able to stick and trust people or even maneuvering people that maybe weren't 100% trustworthy. That's why they weren't winning. That's why Jawan was on the jury. I think they kind of kicked off the domino effect that fell to Savannah eventually winning. But all that credit goes to Savannah, goes to Rizzo. Savannah pulled, I think more so Savannah than Rizzo. Savannah pulled in the people she recognized when she needed to, and she played them the way that she needed them to play, and then got rid of them when she needed to. And I think that is something that has kind of really been unappreciated with new era Survivor players, is that they are very afraid to manipulate players to their advantage because, like we talked about, they don't want to be seen as a liar, cheater, or bully, whatever it is. And I think that's why I like Savannah so much, and that's why she had the edge over Sage, because I think that Sage, she said it here, she had blood on her hands, but I think that when she did get blood on her hands, it was the wrong person, and I think that was the biggest problem. And when it became time to get the actual blood on her hands that she needed, it was too late. And like, I think voting out Steven there, yeah, maybe it was the right move. Savannah and Rizzo weren't there, but they were there. One had an idol and the other one keeps winning immunity challenges. So I don't know. Sage is a very complicated character, whereas I think that she's not a good player, but she showed a lot of signs of what I think could have been a good player. And so, like I say, every season, I would be interested in seeing Sage play again. I think the list of people I've said that about, though, in New Era is like, we're up to like 50 people at this point. So I don't know if she's top of that list, but yeah, Sage, she's and I think that she added on to the entertainment element of this season too, honestly, even though I didn't end up liking her overall. I think that she was a nice foe to Savannah and Rizzo towards the end.
For me, for Sage, it's just like, I think the issue was she didn't have people's respect, and I think that's like ultimately what jury votes fundamentally come down to the majority of the time. And it didn't feel like people respected her as a player, and the final trial council wasn't enough to like push them to feel like they had her, like that she had their respect. Like in hindsight, for me, looking at like where everybody kind of like fell apart, I would say I don't know if Christina ever really had serious win equity. I would say Sage lost the game at Final 7, Sophie lost the game at Final 6, and then Rizzo lost the game at Final 5. And then like it was basically impossible for Savannah to lose unless she, I guess, lost the fire making challenge. But like in terms of just like ceding win equity to Savannah, basically. Because like obviously like Savannah had there were ways for Savannah to lose, but like I think that those three players at those three junctions ceded a ton of their win equity to other people, in particular Savannah. Like I think that Sage voting out Yellow Sophie over Savannah at 7 was a mistake. I think that Blue Sophie not stealing Rizzo's idol and basically like creating a scenario where she could get into a Final 4 and get towards the Final 3 more consistently, that she could win, was a mistake. And I think that Rizzo ceding to what Savannah and presumably Blue Sophie wanted at Final 5 and voting out Christina over Sage was a mistake. And I think that, you know, he had the idol to possibly, and we'll talk about this move as well, because this happened in the episode. He had the option to vote for Sage with Christina and then use his idol on Christina, you know, defy what Savannah wants and make a play that benefits him in particular, and put himself in a position where he's going into probably a 75% win equity situation rather than a 50% win equity situation or so. So like I just see a lot of people down the stretch making mistakes. I don't really think Savannah made a mistake, at least from my perspective. Like that's where it comes down to.
I think the other thing with Sage too was the quote, the late great Logan Roy, you have to be a killer in Survivor, and she was not a killer. She wasn't. And when it became time to get her, you know, her, in her words, blood on her hands, it was either very reluctant or it was the wrong person. It was the wrong person she wanted to go after. And I think we saw that too last week, where she was in that challenge with Savannah and she was essentially pleading to Savannah like, hey, quit so I can win. And I thought that was, I get the desperation, and it's almost where I can respect someone that wants to win the game. And this isn't, you know, just the whole separate tangent of, I thought Ethan Zahn on Tyson's podcast last week said one of the best points about current New Era Survivor, which was for probably about 99% of these people, just the win that they wanted was to get on the show, to be able to then have the cachet to go and host a podcast, be a part of that Survivor community that they've like desperately wanted to be a part of for 20 years. Like that's the win for them. And I think a lot of the times what we've seen with, you know, the kumbaya, which is people a lot of complained about, like the lack of fire, is pretty much gone because they're just happy to be there. I think like the exact words Ethan said was, it's essentially like a Broadway show, which for them, and Jeff is kind of like the conductor of it all. I thought that was kind of really spot on, because I mean, how many, like we've every single season we've talked about, we wish that people would be more cutthroat. We wish that people would be more willing to kind of put themselves out there and be real, actual people, rather than almost like corporate versions of themselves, which is what we see all the time in Survivor. Where, Brian, where you mentioned Carson, I think Carson was almost such a corporate version of what I wanted Survivor player to be, where Rizzo on the opposite side was, Rizzo wore his heart on his sleeve. He maybe played the idol a little bit too much, but everything that he did, I believe, was 100% real. He was hyped when he got Jawan out. He was pissed at Jawan because Jawan had turned his back on him so many times and tried to stab him in the back. Like, that was all real. You can tell Steven, when Steven was blindsided last week, he was pissed. And for a split second, he wanted to show it, and then he didn't. And I do understand, like, it is a game, and you can respect that, but you're still playing to win Survivor. And as much as I don't think that Sage was playing a good game, I do believe that she really wanted to win Survivor. I do believe that she was there not just to make friends, but she wanted to win. And even though I hate her like pleading to Savannah to quit, I can respect it only in the sense that she wanted to win that game, not the fashion that she was going about doing it. But that's why Savannah, I think, is such a good winner. Is she was a killer. She was cutthroat. Even Sage sitting there pleading with her, where somebody like Christina maybe probably folds in that situation, just gives her the win. Like Savannah was not losing that, because also her name was very easily going. She was going to be up there that night. I was very, very happy. Not to touch on last week a lot, but I was very happy she didn't concede to that. And I think it was kind of like, it was a tough look for Sage. I knew I was going to go on Sage Ramble at some point, so I'm glad to get out of the way now. But Sage is a very frustrating player for me, because I do think that if she can take from what she learned from this season and apply it, if she ever plays again, I do think she can be a good player. I just don't know. And I felt kind of bad for her, because she was another victim of that, of the immediate reunion after the vote. Like, you can tell she was she was not doing well up there.
Yeah, I mean, Sage was fine. I think, like, yeah, Ben, I think you hit the nail on the head of when all these players lost their win equity. And like you said, Dylan, maybe she'd do better on a return, but it's like, did Sage do enough for me to be like, I want Sage to return? Not really.
Yeah.
You know, like, I think it is a good point, and something I say when we cover Big Brother, something I say when we cover Survivor. You got to approach it like this is your one shot ever. And like, and Savannah, I feel like she did that. I feel like even that moment at the end when they were like, oh, like, name family members, I feel like the fact that she didn't put her energy into that kind of shows how single-minded she was. There was also another moment where Jeff was trying to, like, kind of bring Survivor around to how he likes it, where he's like, so how did it feel to win that challenge? And Savannah was like, I mean, it was good, but I'm not, like, thinking about, like, my childhood self and how proud she would be. I'm thinking about trying to win $1 million. And I'm just like, yes, I love that. I love when people have that attitude, and we don't see it enough. Like what you said, Dylan, what I guess Ethan said on Tyson's podcast, being on Survivor is winning enough, but it's not, man. $1 million is really what matters, or $750,000 for Big Brother, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I think even beyond the money at this point, because we've talked about how the money is not. I mean, $1 million. I'll happily take $1 million pre-tax right away, right now.
Right? Yeah.
I swear to God, I'll do it.
So you got to pay the taxes, or you're going to end up like Richard Hatch.
I think more so that point of, especially for people that have watched Survivor since day one, you've been in that Survivor community. People desperately want to be a part of those players. They want to be a part of that community.
Yeah.
They want to go to the reunions. They want to go to the watch parties. They want to be there to be part of that. I get that. I would want to do that too. But outside the money, like how many total winners in all? Like, obviously we're not going to count season because there's repeat winners. How many total winners in all are there? Is it like
well, it's 47.
47, yeah, because there've been
and depending who wins 50.
Yeah. So there's been 47 overall winners. I mean, how many players are there? I think there's like where you're in the multiple hundreds.
There's like 700 or something.
Yeah.
I'll see if I can find that, but you keep talking.
I think the drive to want to be number 48 in that list, 47, that alone should be, because you are, you know, there's a difference between Kyle sitting in a room with I'm trying to think of a good example of somebody that never won. You know, there's a difference between, I was going to say Johnny Fairplay, but that's not a fair. That's two totally different things.
So like kind of like an average player, like God, who would even be that? Jason from Korong, or Kyle,
there's a difference
who's going by.
There's a difference between being a Jeremy Collins and being a Sage in the room. They're very different. There's a difference between being a Christina and a Jeremy Collins in a Survivor community. And I think that, like, there needs to be more of a drive to want to be that winner. And I'm not doubting each season has people that would desperately want to win, but I just think that what Savannah displayed in this season is exactly what I have wanted for so many different new era players. And that's even like, I believe Kyle wanted to win, and I still think Kyle's a great winner, and the same thing with D, but I guess I just didn't necessarily get the cutthroat want from them the same that Savannah did. And I could be sitting here with recency bias, and then, like, if I ever rewatch 49 and I see different. Like that is totally possible. But there's something about Savannah in this one where I think that she would, and I think we've said it multiple times. I think she would fit in so well with that like middle tier Survivor era of like Kagiyan, of Second Chance, Blood versus Water, all those where I felt like people really desperately wanted to win, and like they were still willing to do whatever they wanted. And like it's not comparable to the early Survivor, because that was essentially you were becoming a international like celebrity overnight with the early Survivor, whereas that was the game in its peak, in my opinion, and people like desperately wanted to win. And I think that that's something that the new era has lacked a lot, and I think that that's why I like Savannah so much. But the flip side seems like that's why people hate Savannah so much, because she openly wanted to win, and was I don't even think she was arrogant about it. I think that she was vocal that she wanted to win and wanted to make the right moves.
Yeah, and I mean Tetsuya in the chat said that the prize equivalent is like $500,000 today. They should up it to double. I agree. I think they should. That would get people more motivated to play. Maybe, even leave their jobs to play. Whereas now it's like, especially right now, where it's tough to find another job. But you know what? Maybe that's why Savannah was so good. She said that she lost her job before she came out here, right? So she was extra motivated.
Yeah, I mean, well, this is jumping around a little bit, but talking about like the Christina question that Dylan referenced at the final call of council, which I think is like one of the more interesting moments from the finale. Like that, is basically like a direct 1-to-1 of the Penny Ramsey to Brian Heidick question in Thailand. And in both cases, the person who just straight up did not like answer the question at all and like flubbed it completely still went on to win the season. Right. Like, and despite this person basically setting them up to look like they didn't care about any of the people they voted out.
I wonder if her answer kind of like was, because I was on the jury, but like, you know what? I kind of fuck with that answer. Like the best possible answer to it.
Yeah, I mean, well, it's like almost honest in its sociopathy, right? And that's kind of like where Brian Heidick was successful in Thailand as well, where like he was like kind of unapologetically like, yeah, this is a business trip. I'm here to win myself $1 million. I don't really care about any of these people or like their families or anything like that. I'm going to check the list of things I need to do to accomplish winning this game, and then I'm going to go home and live my life. And like I think like it, that like business trip ethos or like idea is not really like a thing that we see anymore on Survivor, as Dylan was saying. And I think like people who are trying to find like, who is like a winner that you could compare to like a Brian Heidick, like in the game, obviously, I think there's a lot of things you could talk about Brian Heidick outside the game, but like the one of the names that had come up in the past as somebody who was compared to like that was Kim Spradlin, who Savannah references in the post show is like the person, the player that she looked up to the most coming into the season. I think that like while her and Kim didn't really play like similar games like on the face of it, because Savannah played largely from the bottom, like obviously that they both are tied for the immunity record, but from like a strategic and social perspective, Kim basically like formed like this kind of cult of personality and held a majority of the entire game and never really let go of power. Whereas Savannah like had to kind of scrap from the bottom and was in danger a lot and kind of had to do like kind of more underhanded and sketchy things to get by. So like their games aren't similar, but I think their perspective on how they approach the game is very similar, which is like I'm here to win, and like I don't particularly care if like these people at the end of the day like me or not, as long as they vote for me to win.
Which I respect. I love it. Talking to some more, and he said that she seems a little psycho, and I was like, that's perfect though. That's what I want.
Yeah, I mean, like you have to be a little bit. I think you have to be a little bit sociopathic to win Survivor. It's very, very difficult otherwise. Like there you can, I think you can fall into a win sometimes, but like I would say like 90+% of the time, like if you're like making a deliberate effort to win Survivor, like it requires like you know, a smidge of sociopathy. It's like it's a bad game. You know, it's not supposed to be a nice game. Like the new era has kind of like built this facade that the game is like, you know, nice and like, you know, everyone's just being kind of like, you know, good sports about everything. But like the premise of the game is to like manipulate people into liking you and then backstabbing them. It's like it's not a particularly kind game.
I think I could spend a while on Christina and why I think Christina is one of those players that is kind of like all that's wrong with New Era Survivor. I do think her whole bit with that question, the whole intent was to have her gotcha moment with Savannah, and was to try to make Savannah a deer in headlights. And I think that I hated it. I think she navigated around it perfectly. I think the people that are saying it's the greatest question ever asked in Final Tribal history are delusional, which is pretty much most of the Survivor fandom.
Are people saying that? Dude, I need
well,
I've seen both ends of the spectrum as well, where it's like this was horrible and this was great. I thought it was fun and entertaining. I thought that it was like, because like it was basically a copy and paste of Penny's question from Survivor Thailand, which is a season 5, you know, moment, right? Like it's like a major moment in that season in terms of like how the strategy played out and like comparing Brian versus Clay in that finals. And like, you know, we kind of got like a bit of it with like Sophie kind of mouthing the answers to the side, but like in Thailand, Brian basically flubs the entire question, can't name a single thing, and then Clay comes out and like basically lists everybody's like second and third cousins, like, you know, down their entire lineage. And you know, in that season, similar to this season, Brian wins despite flubbing that question, and Clay, you know, has this like strong connection to everyone in the jury and knows all of their families. It didn't matter. He lost because Brian had votes locked in. Same here. Savannah it didn't matter that she doesn't know anyone's loved ones' names because she had votes locked in. She played the better game.
I think also from Christina, and I understand, especially when you have kids, I guess like the overall aspect, you've been on that island with however long they were together, days wise when they merged. I get like maybe not knowing my kids' names, that would be a little bit hurtful, but I think her intent clearly was, I don't like Savannah. I don't want her to win. Here is this question that I hope is going to stump her, make her look really dumb. And I think not only did it not do that for Savannah, I think it was so unimpactful to how everybody else voted. Like Christina was not going to vote. I truly don't think Christina was going to vote for Savannah if Savannah remembered Christina's kids' names. Like, I don't think that there was ever like there was not a reality where that question was going to alter people's votes unless Savannah like snapped back at her, which like, I think the right answer for Savannah with that whole thing was not to do that, was not to play into her hand, which she tried not to do at first. And then when Christina, like, I want you to try, like, what do you want her to say? That I remembered every single person's life story, that I, you know, from the first time we merged, you've been coming at me and wanted me gone. You never voted with me unless finally when it was time where you did vote with me, it was to ruin your own game. Like, I guess, what do you want from me? If I'm Savannah, I came close with the 2 other people that got me furthest in this game. Like, that's what I needed to do. Maybe Christina and the Sages and other players that were out there trying to be everybody else's best friend, not realizing that the game was passing them by, not realizing that the kid that played an idol, that showed an idol at tribal for 6-7 different tribals that didn't play it. Maybe you should be more focused on them than learning people's names. And I understand, like, once again, I have kids. I understand how that can hurt if you have kids and you talk about your kids and maybe these people, Savannah was not listening or cared enough to pay attention. Shout out Brian Wong. Don't show people pictures of your kids at work. They don't care. And that Brian Wong taught me that very early on, and I appreciated that. He never said that about me, but Brian Wong is a scholar, and he taught me that. And I think that people in the real world don't care about your kids. They don't care about your cousins. It's nice to know that Jawan was the oldest of 4 siblings. That's great. I can remember that. But also, when I have been on this island for 26 days, I miss my loved ones. I think I'm about to win $1 million. I'm incredibly malnourished. I am probably sun poisoned. I do not care to remember your kids' names or like your cousin's name or how many cousins you have. I don't care. I think Christina is a loser. I think that was a loser question. I am hopeful I never see her again in the Survivor world. With that said, I think that she's probably a lovely person in person. So if I do ever cross her path, I will say hi. But as a Survivor player and a person in the Survivor community, I never want anything to do with Christina again because I think she sucks as a player. I think that question sucked. And that is how I truly feel about it. And I think if you think that that is, once again, as the Reddit sleuth on this podcast, the hottest post today is a post that, spoiler, blank had the best jury question in the new era. And we see that obviously it is Christina. There are 2.4 thousand upvotes. And the very first one is, I think that this showcases the difference between philosophy. Oh, that's not the one I wanted to read. That doesn't fit my agenda right now. Thoroughly enjoyed.
Okay. Well, to be fair to that person, they've been doing the shitty jury format for the majority of the new era, so there really aren't a lot of like jury questions in the like.
Yeah, did they agree to do that, or was that like are we just going?
They have started moving back towards the.
It was a good format to begin with. Like the open thing is like.
I swear it's literally just because Jeff blamed the old jury format on Michelle winning co-wrong. I believe that's what happened. I don't know if that's confirmed, but they changed after co-wrong, and from my understanding, like it feels like Jeff was like, this jury format is shitty with the way the questions are asked, and everyone gets to get up on Showboat or whatever. And that's the reason why we have to do it this way instead. And it's because Aubrey lost to Michelle. I think that's, don't shoot me if I'm wrong, but that's my understanding of why it changed to begin with. And yes, the everyone gets to ask a question, model UN version or whatever the fuck you want to call it. Like I think it's just a better format. Everyone gets guaranteed speaking time. They get to say their piece. They get to like address each juror if they want on a one-to-one basis. To get whatever information they think they need to make their decision. And sometimes the information they want is stupid, and sometimes that they don't need information. They just like go and give a showboaty speech to like jerk themselves off for 5 minutes. But like that's their right, that's they earned their spot to go and do that. And if that's what they want to use their stand to do, then that's fine.
And occasionally it led to really iconic moments.
Yeah.
Sometimes it did feel masturbatory, like you said, but other times we had the reality speech was like one of my favorite moments in Survivor. Rats and snakes, obviously iconic all the way back to season 1. There have been some really good moments.
Yeah.
Chat says Christina's question is not bad compared to Brenda asking Dawn to show the jury her dentures. Yeah, I didn't like that.
Yeah,
no, that was so rude.
Yeah, no, that's for sure. I mean, I didn't care, but I didn't mind Christina's question. This is a Dylan opinion. I liked it. I thought it was fun. I thought it was like a fun kind of callback to Thailand, as I referenced. And I think it also it's in both cases, both Thailand and 49, we get the same result and we get the same kind of lesson, which is that like if you are somebody that the jury respects because of your gameplay and you're kind of unapologetic about it in a way that like they can't they don't hate you to a degree where they lose respect for your game. Like they're not gonna care about like these kind of small petty things like, oh, they didn't remember my brother's name. Like, you know what I mean? Like I think that like that is the lesson that we learned in 2003, and that's a lesson that we continue to learn today, and it hasn't changed. And I think that like, it's useful to reiterate that. And I think that, it was also kind of a funny moment. I thought it was funny, even though I agree. I think Savannah is a really great player. I love Savannah, and I thought that Christina was kind of a useless player. I still thought that the jury question was fun.
Did we get a breakdown? I didn't end up watching. Did we get a breakdown of who the other person that voted for Soph was? Was it Christina?
Yeah, she said at the reunion thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and I respect Jawan, like, for voting for his number one. I think it makes sense in that kind of situation with your duo.
Yeah, I mean, I came in expecting it. I guessed that it was going to be a 5-2-1. That was like what I was leaning towards. I thought it was going to be Alex instead of MC, and that MC was going to vote for Savannah, and Alex was going to vote for Sophie. But like, it's 5-2-1 was what I expected.
I was so convinced. I was so convinced that we were getting a Tres Leches final three that I never really considered what the vote would shape up to if it wasn't Savannah and Rizzo going at each other. Because I think initially, up to this episode, my opinion is that the jury was going to be more bitter towards how Rizzo acted with the idol, and we're going to kind of play that all towards Savannah, and Savannah was either going to be a unanimous win or or Rizzo was going to get 1 or 2 votes. I think that the way that this ended up playing out with who was in final 3, I think is probably definitely makes the most sense narratively to kind of how everything went overall with the season. There was no doubt in my mind that Jawan was going to vote for Sage. I do think Savannah probably won Jawan over a little bit more. Jawan's another one where he is a very interesting person to watch, albeit sometimes very frustrating. Maybe not the best player, but Jawan was a very, very entertaining character in this overall season. Once again, I don't think it can be understated how much Savannah and Rizzo and Soph to a different degree carried the season overall, especially post merge. But I think Sage and Jawan really added that like B tier like co-starring role very well, and I think this season now probably in New Era places 3rd for me behind 46 and 47, just because of how well the post merge came together from an entertainment aspect, maybe not necessarily from a gameplay aspect. It was almost like the opposite effect that 48 had, where it kind of all fell apart towards the end, where I really thought like each week for the past like 3 or 4 weeks, I was like kind of glued to my TV to see what was going on. And even if it wasn't the best gameplay, it was still very, very entertaining. So Sage and Jawan definitely deserve credit there. That whole talk of, I mean, maybe I don't know if it earned it enough to ever see them both play again, but I appreciate them for that, because like I said, I was sitting here at the beginning of October, end of September, saying if it wasn't for this podcast, I would be out on this show. So this has kind of restored my faith, and you two seasoned battle vets who have watched the worst of Survivor know it can be much worse. So I feel like I'm on that boat now, where it can be probably much worse, and it's probably not going to get to that point. So I'm very happy I stuck with it, because I do think overall this season was, good. I think we went from a very, very, very bad pre-merge to a decently good post-merge. I think that coming all together with a great winner. I'll look back on this season way fonder than I thought I would. So that's cool.
I'm glad to hear it, because the community at large was just crushed by this season at a certain point. Like, I thought if any time there's going to be like a super fan mutiny, it was then, but it turns out it's probably going to be when Mr. Beast shows up.
Well, okay. I mean, I've been even from the start of the season, when if it was like a little slower, like I had been pretty consistent with saying that I just kind of thought the season was mid, and I thought that like 48 was like actively bad and like considerably a worse season. And like I don't think at any point during the season that I ever think it was at the very least worse than 48. So it was always very odd to me that this season felt like it was getting more hate than 48. But maybe it's just because it's like the second it was like the second season in a row that people weren't fucking with. I don't know.
I think we talked about it previously this season. I think it was the buildup of it all. I think it was the how stagnant everything became. I think how formulaic everything became. Yeah. Like like the players to a certain extent almost became exact clones of each other. Like I think that just got very, very old very quick. But I think when you have players that play with like actual real human emotion and like human interest in wanting to win a game, I think it completely changes like your outlook, because once again, we were still basically doing a lot of the same stuff we've been doing for previous seasons. I think just the players themselves have kind of slightly evolved past that this season. Maybe not gameplay wise, but at least in terms of turning it, making it entertaining. And I do think the editing and the production is semi evolving also away from. I think if you go back and you watch season 41 and you watch this season, I think that at least what I assume, because I probably will never watch season 41 again. I assume the vibes and the editing and the production is all very, very different. I imagine season 41 fringes on being borderline unwatchable at this point, is what I assume.
You wouldn't rewatch for your boy Xander?
No, because I don't think I'll ever see him again. So I feel like I need to emotionally move on from that season. I think
don't quote me, but I think he's on X on the Beach or something like that, like some dating show. So if you're really, wanting to watch him,
I think we might see a Shan was somebody I really thought was going to be in season 50, but that was before we realized how many old school players are going to be coming back. Shan is probably one of the few players from that season I assume we will see again at some point. Maybe was it Ricard who came in second, third? That was Shan's number one until they turned on each other. He's another one I assume, or they are another one I assume we'll see again at some point. Other than that, I think
you know what, it might have been Xander was rumored to be on Love Island, but he didn't go on.
I like vaguely know what you're talking about because I remember seeing his name somewhere recently.
Yeah.
No, I don't. There's so many people from just New Era. I'm like, what if we're 4 years into the New Era post Winners at War? I think that I feel like we're never going to see a lot of them again because it took so long.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what's the point of doing the drop the 4, keep the 1, and then not doing an All Stars as the 8th season of this? I don't get it, Jeff. I don't get it.
Yeah, it is very odd to to set up the New Era as like a clean cut, but then the first returning player season isn't just like a New Era All Stars. Yeah,
I would have loved it. Like Survivor 48 New Era All Stars would have been great. I think.
I think the logical like All-Star returning season is going to be a Second Chance Part 2 or second.
Yeah, we're definitely doing a Survivor Game Changers style, like let's all the people who got close to Second Chance or weren't eligible for Second Chance, let's put them on a season. Probably a similar thing here, or we might get like Ricard, like Shan, players like that who Jesse, another one who I thought was a lock, Carolyn, all those players.
I do think that they desperately need their new Boston Rob. They need their new Parvati. They need their new Suri. They need that.
Agreed.
All of them are still very active.
Kobe looks like, obviously he's still incredibly handsome, but he's old now. It's like, yeah, we need some fresh blood. I'm so excited to see Colby on 50, but yeah, you're right. We need the new gods.
I am desperately ready to talk about 50, but I feel like we have not brushed on Rizzo that much this episode. I do want to shout out
about Rizzo.
The Riz God. Very unfortunate how much his game kind of fell apart within the last hour of this episode before he was voted out. Once again, the idol, how dangerous is an idol if everybody knows it exists for a very long time? I think his was very dangerous until it wasn't anymore. Obviously, I think that you fly too close to the sun. He got as close as he could, and then he burned up, it got him this far, which realistically, without that idol, would he have gotten this far? Would just Savannah protecting him, self-protecting him? I don't think so, but man, probably my favorite player from this season was Rizzo. I think Savannah is the best player in the New Era, but I think Rizzo is my favorite player. Once again, it seems overall people are very, very mixed on him. Shout out Mean Girl Lauren, who I don't know if she's listening, made fun of his mustache. Didn't appreciate that. They were very happy he shaved. I love the Riz God. It seems like Jeff loves the Riz God. I think that he is one of those players. Speaking of marquee players, I hope to see him stick around. I really, once again,
he played so young. I'm sure he will, if he wants to.
I think he was genuine. I think he for the most part had a lot of like very logical, reasonable moves. I don't think Savannah could get as far without him, where vice versa. I don't think he could have got as far without Savannah. So once again, it takes two to tango. One winning does not mean the other one. She could have did it without Rizzo. I don't know.
Yeah, that fire making was probably for $1 million, right?
So that's I'm glad you brought. I'll let you guys kind of finish your thoughts on Rizzo, but I have a couple thoughts on the fire, everything building up to the fire too.
Yeah, I loved Rizzo as well. I really got into the RIZGOD Riz God baby aspect of it. I thought it was super fun. It reminds me. We talked about Johnny Fairplay a little bit earlier. He was intentionally playing a character in the same way that Fairplay was intentionally playing. And it turns out that Rizzo's a big wrestling fan, which totally makes sense as to, what's his name? Johnny Nitro, whatever, the mayor of Slamtown. Same thing. You can see like the through line of these. They're kind of approaching it with a wrestler's persona, but he did have the knowledge and ability to back up, the over the top character, which I thought was really good. And I'm sad people don't like him, but I loved him. So
yeah, I mean, I said it a bunch of times this season. It's just like I think that like he's like one of the only players where I like see myself in him in terms of like he played an Approach Survivor the way that I would probably play an Approach Survivor if I ever played it, and like how I have in like live games as well. Obviously it's not the same thing, but like where I kind of come in playing a bit of a character and like like trying to be over the top, trying to like make like flashy things happen just to entertain myself and to like make good TV. Like I think that then like that's good. You want people to do that to make the TV product good. Like it's just like I don't know why people would be upset at somebody who is deliberately trying to do things to make better TV. It kind of just boggles the mind for me. Whether or not you like personally find them obnoxious for whatever idiosyncrasy or like because like you perceive them to be like some kind of like villain or whatever, like his presence on the season made the season better, and he took deliberate actions as a player in the game and on the show with the intention of making the show better. And for that, like, that's the kind of player that you should be bringing back the next season. Like that's just like my perspective on it. Like, is it like always optimal gameplay to like go up and like showboat with the idol and like do all of these like kind of flashy things with it? Sometimes when there's strategic backing to it, and sometimes just to like kind of seemingly entertain himself. No, but like it made the TV product better, and it was fun. And like I don't know if people are gonna get upset at players that are trying to make the show fun and more entertaining, then like you're just like encouraging players to be bland and boring. Like I don't want that. Why are we like getting mad that people are trying to make the show better and not be bland and boring?
To go back, I'm rereading our chat real quick. I think that was a great point brought up too, that I think Savannah's coronation being in 49, where we already had a pretty good knowledge of 50 and its format and what that likely meant for Savannah. Although I agree, I was with Ben, sucked me in. I thought Rizzo was the winner 2-3. I thought Rizzo was the winner until we were 30 minutes into the episode last night. I wonder if that, because I know people that watched it without the knowledge of 50 and like they didn't like Savannah. I do wonder if like even for us, if watching it not knowing Savannah was in 50, I like to imagine maybe even amplify her game a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think I was watching it so much of it with the assumption she was either going to get out of it or she was going to go far enough where, not that it wouldn't matter, but she was going to go far enough where like she had to play a good game. And I definitely think it affected how we viewed Savannah and Rizzo, knowing they were on there. But once again, even people that didn't know that they were on 50, a lot of them either didn't like them or didn't like the cut of their jib, if you will. Kind of a bummer. But once again, I thought it was cool watching, almost like you're studying how this person plays. But I do think that maybe I might appreciate her season a little bit more had I not had the knowledge of 50. But I don't know. It was interesting. I told you I'd never watched the season live, knowing that this person was going to be on a new season following. So I guess that was an interesting experience for me.
Yeah, I don't know. I still stand by. It would have been obvious for me, like from an editing perspective. It's just like the storytelling was just so tilted in the favor of the three Trace Leches people that, like, to me, like, they were the obvious three, like from like the Nate boot on, like, at the very least, but even earlier in the pre-merge, like the way that the show is kind of tilting the storytelling, I think it's obvious for anyone paying attention that who the key players are going to be regardless.
Yeah, I do think just because of who she replaced and who Rizzo replaced, it's just like, okay, I guess she's going to be the winner of this season. But it didn't detract from my viewing experience. I will say, like, I've always wondered what that would be like, to not, or to know who won and then watch a season of Survivor. Obviously, having watched live the whole time, and try to stay away from spoilers. That hasn't been the case, but yeah, I mean,
which, by the way, spoilers are out there for 50. I haven't seen any, but I am aware
I'm
of their
sure.
existence.
Yeah, I mean, I have recurring players using. I assume, like, I have luckily not seen any. But
that's why we do a season 50 episode already.
We did, yes. We did like a preview of the cast when the cast leaked.
That's why we did that then, and why Ben and I way back in Winners at War did it before, because there's just no way to do it without potentially getting spoiled.
Yeah,
and then we're gonna do our draft unspoiled. Probably we should do it sooner rather than later, but to lead in, because obviously we have the traders coming up, so maybe that's what we can fill in. We're gonna do a draft. All right, we're gonna have a snake draft, top to bottom. We'll figure out the format of whoever has like the best overall finish, or like combined score, whatever it's going to be. I feel like the easiest.
I'm sure you can write a.
I mean, it depends. I mean, the easiest way to do it is just like who drafts the winner wins. But I think it's too boring. I don't know.
I think they have us to have like a full season impact, and for maybe I have a chance of finally winning. I think that it would be like essentially how many players? There's 28 players.
24.
24. Basically the reverse.
Winner gets 24 points.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can definitely do it that way. I think that'd be fun.
Yeah.
Then you have a running scoreboard that we can bring up every week and talk about it.
More graphics for Brian to work on. I think that we're getting somewhere.
Hey man, I'm learning After Effects, so maybe by the time the season rolls around, I'll be halfway decent at it.
Yeah, and I'm also very glad too, because, like, presumably I'll get the first pick for having picked Soph. But definitely. I was very sad coming out of 48, because at 48 I also won because I picked Eva, and I was like, man, I really wish I had the first pick coming out of 48 into 50 for because I really wanted. I have like a person that I've wanted to pick first for 50, so.
Well, yeah, we'll figure out when to do our.
You're on
draft.
the clock.
Yeah, you're on the clock.
I mean, I've known since the cast dropped who I was going to pick first. So.
I think Brian, I know I'm going with my heart. So unfortunately, assuming
I know who you're going to pick,
assuming Ben does not take Coach, I am taking Coach second.
Yeah. Spoiler alert: I will not be taking Coach with the first overall pick. So you can have him.
I have never been more convinced in my life. I guess we're segueing into 50 Hawk. Never been more convinced in my life that Coach is winning this season than I am right now, especially opening up with a Coach monologue. I think, like I said, him saying that 50 is the best season he's ever been a part of. I'm assuming that is not just marketing tactics and him just building it up just for the sake of doing it. I think if Coach was voted out first, I think that he would not say anything. I think Coach goes very far. I might pick
Coach
the most
capable of not saying anything. I don't know.
I might pick the most chaotic team possible, to be honest with you.
That'd be fun too. I mean, there's so many good players to pick from. It will be fun to do.
Yeah, I'm excited for your Coach Hugh, Angelina.
Yes. Oh man.
Huh. As a barber, I have to say this is the best show on Twitch. It is every stage of beard growth. Yeah.
That's awesome. And also in the chat, Savannah back-to-back winner. Maybe. I think she could do it if all things were equal. So
of the 3 winners, like I said earlier, I think that she will have the best chance. Unfortunately, I think that it all depends. It depends if old school players band together, if they immediately go after each other. I assume it's going to be the former first rather than going after each other, because we've seen kind of how that has played out. Like if you look at Winners at War, for example. But I don't know. I'm at the point now too where I have no idea where 50 is going to go. Whether I feel like we could be sitting there with all new era players at the end. We can be sitting there with all old school. I generally have no idea.
Yeah. And everyone's looking old. I'm looking old. I feel like, it's just time's undefeated.
Yeah. I turned 32 today. Yeah.
Oh, but it's your birthday today? Oh my God.
It is my birthday today. Yeah.
Happy birthday.
Yeah.
Fuck, I forgot to wish you happy birthday earlier.
All right, you're good.
I'm sorry.
I'm glad you brought that up, because if you turn around and look at your closet, there was a man there holding a cake. Ready to blow out the cake.
It would have been awkward if you hadn't mentioned it. To be fair, I didn't have any idea what today was.
I am happy birthday, Ben. That's awesome. Quite shocking when Colby came up. He once again, for overall, if he has aged fantastic, looks great for his age. It's just so shocking to see someone that you have, especially because the most recent season I've watched him in was Outback. So it's like seeing that and then seeing that is wild. Time is cruel. Time is the biggest enemy we all face, and I think that's also why we're seeing a lot more old school players back in the season than we thought, because I think that this really was probably one of the last times we get a chance to see a lot of these people. It's not like I'm saying Colby's going to die of old age tomorrow. That's not what I'm saying.
I mean, Colby himself says this in the preview that we see, is like, this might be the last chance I get, basically. Like, how many more chances am I going to get at Survivor? Like, take it all I can.
I thought the trailer was awesome. The first 20 seconds.
I think it was probably closer to like 45 seconds to a minute. Like the coach monologue over them slow walking, and then we get the shot of Colby. That's peak, right? That's like 10 out of 10. Really can't say anything better.
The last 40 seconds is where I think I dislike it the most. I think most people dislike it the most. Even my brother, who I love dearly, is one of the most negative people I know. He says he loves the trailer, which is great, but he's also very nervous about the celebrity stuff. My only hope is that they're using that purely for promotional purposes, and a lot of the celebrity mentioned is like Mr. Beast, for example. My theory is that he's going to just be there upping the prize of the game to assuming it's at $1 million, it's going to be up to 2 million or more. I would be very surprised, honestly, if they have it only at $1 million.
My guess, having watched a lot of Mr. Beast videos, he's going to do the thing where you both have a briefcase. One person has an advantage in it, and you have to only one person gets to look, And they have to
they've done this on there's like a British
it's that
it's the carrot in the box, or whatever it is.
He loves that.
Yeah,
he did it on his show for Who Got the Island. So he loves that stuff.
that's another part of that too. Is essentially it's a cross promotion because Jeff is also going to be on Mr. Beast's show this season. Yeah. So my hope is that
cool. Personally,
my hope is that none of this really affects the game overall. The Billie Eilish boomerang advantage or idol, whatever that was, dumb. And the fact that
Ben, what's your theory on that?
Well, it's not really it's more cope, I would say, and hoping this to be true, which is it's hard to super be confident because we do see obviously Mr. Beast and we also do see Zach Brown with I think a fish over his shoulder or something like that, just kind of walking slow walking, really sexy on the beach. But and I've seen this theory elsewhere, and I don't want to claim it as my own, but I saw it and I thought it made sense, which is there's some twist that gets introduced via a celebrity, whether it be Mr. Beast or whether it be Zach Brown, and this gets kind of previewed or hinted at in some way with tree mail or something to the players. Maybe Jeff said something about it, and the Christian scene and Devin's in the confessional talking about the Billie Eilish boomerang idol was them basically making jokes trying to guess what the thing is, right? And not these are two people that are actually going to also be involved additionally to Mr. Beast and Zach Brown.
Right. Zach Brown seems like such a random pull.
It's very random, yeah.
At the very least, is the host of a reality television show.
Yeah.
I don't understand why Zach Brown is there, other than he was asked and he said yes.
That is Zach Brown of the Zach Brown Band, correct?
Yeah,
presumably.
Dumb. Okay, because I guess I had an image of Zach Brown from the Zach Brown Band and how he looked, and it's not how that guy looked. But maybe it's just been a while. I used to love Zach Brown Band. Chat says he looks like John Rocker. Once again, we bring up John Rocker way too often on this show. I am happy to announce
they brought Rocker back as a celebrity.
I am happy to announce that the political leanings of players on this season has been released by people. Rizzo has been placed into the conservative territory strictly because he follows Dave Portnoy on Twitter, which I thought was one of the funniest things I read today. It's like Coach openly talks about being MAGA and a Trump guy sometimes, and then it drops down to Rizzo slightly above him, and it's Rizzo follows Dave Portnoy. I
also follow Dave Portnoy
blue and red
on Twitter, so
I loved it because if shout out Brian Wong, bully girl Lauren. Listeners of the show know I am of a firm stance that we should do a left versus right season of all the players that are strongly politically leaning right and all the players that are strongly politically leaning left, and we go against each other. John Rocker is team captain on the right, and then I don't know who's a super lefty. I guess there's more than probably the right. We'll throw Ozzy. I think Ozzy is super liberal. Leader of the right, Ozzy versus John Rocker, or even put maybe Jeremy versus John Rocker again as the 1-2. I think that'd be a lot of fun. So we're already starting that in the Survivor community, which is awesome because once again, we have an older players coming back. Traditionally, older people are a little bit more conservative than younger people, so that is going to be a topic that is discussed a lot, I'm sure, as we get closer. Liz Orleans is she is the super left. She has been very vocal on Twitter. She's been a fun follow.
She's left with the exception of
Stephanie is going to be another fun one. I'm very looking forward
to
that's going to pop me up. I have a theory, potentially, maybe that is Ben's pick. I am not sure, but she is someone
I've consistently forgotten that Stephanie is on the season. I'm be real.
I am eyeballing Stephanie to bring on to my team of chaos for this season. Although I think that there's a good chance maybe she talks her way into being one of the first people voted out.
Do you think being from Massachusetts and following Dave Portnoy would not? Because I support people from Massachusetts. I want to, and he's one of the bigger successes.
I think worrying about that at all is insane. I think that, no, Brian, don't even start talking like that.
Yeah, I think when it comes to like a Stephanie or a coach who are like openly talking about their politics, like that becomes fair game. But like if people are just like speculating randomly off of like tangential social media, things like we're kind of falling down a rabbit hole at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My favorite tweet of the day yesterday goes to, and I wanted to make sure we didn't forget about this because speaking of chaos, we had a tweet from Chaos Cass when it was announced that there would be a delay into the Survivor finale because Donald Trump was going to be addressing the country.
Speaking of jerking yourself off,
we had by the way, I was probably about 2 edibles deep when that speech happened, and I couldn't tell if I was in a fever. I could not tell if I was in a fever dream or not, to be 100% honest with you. Mike, it was crazy. I think he had the longest run-on sentence like ever. It was awesome. It was insane to watch when you were absolutely.
It was
a lot. Chaos Cast tweeted Mark Burnett. Oh, the irony of Mark Burnett's 2 most famous and distorted creations airing at the same time. Whenever perfect. Chaos Cast tweets, I fall in love with her all over.
I'm sad for Chaos Cast.
That's also how I used to be with Randy when I was on Twitter.
Yeah,
it's just
we should get both of them on in between now and 50. I'm sure they have really positive opinions about everything happening in the Survivor community.
Randy was at the opening night. My brother, who I've talked about before, was at the opening night of the Survivor Bar. I actually saw the Survivor Bar brought up earlier in the chat.
When's your brother gonna do a guest spot on here? I feel like he's a huge fan.
Oh, I don't know if I want him to come on here. I think he's better off listening. We'll see. I'll get him on maybe one time.
Off listening.
When he went, I guess apparently also the other 2 people that were there opening night was Savannah, and he didn't realize it because obviously he really hadn't seen Savannah that much at that point because that was the first episode. Mm-hmm. And Randy was at that night, which I did not realize.
That's so random.
It is. And then Ozzy actually hosted his own watch party there last night.
That's cool.
With him, Jeremy, there was a bunch of random people. I see a lot of people talking about Ozzy's appearance. Once again, Ozzy, porn star Ozzy, is he's a much different man than what we saw when we last saw him in Survivor. People saying he looks scary. I don't think he looks scary. I think he looks like he is encroaching 45, 50, which he probably is, but he still wants to look like old school.
Didn't Ozzy, like before doing OnlyFans, he worked in the restaurant industry. That takes a toll on you. All right.
He looks run through,
Well, supposedly, yeah.
Those are your words, not mine. Excited to see Ozzy. I'm excited to see everybody.
Oh, yeah, I am too. I feel like Ozzy is someone who a lot of super fans don't like. I've always enjoyed Ozzy. I thought he's brought a lot on all, maybe not Game Changers so much, but there was like the one moment when he gets blindsided in Game Changers and Cerie's on the other side of it from what she was on in Micronesia, which I thought was cool. But yeah, I mean, everyone gets older, right? Like it's fine.
It's just it's gonna be very cool. And once you get outside of that celebrity stuff, which once again Survivor and Jeff will get in their own way, surely. But I'm hopeful. But I know you guys have been burned before. But I'm hopeful.
Yeah, I mean, I just like I think Winners at War is the perfect kind of encapsulation of like the production having like such a slam dunk on a silver platter and then just like consistently getting in their own way for no reason. So like I don't know if like there's no edge of extinction presumably unless that's been completely held under wraps and I haven't been privy to that. But I feel like if that was like a known spoiler, then like that would have been all over the place. So I don't think that it can be worse than Winners at War in terms of like production having such a slam dunk and like getting in their own way with like random bullshit. But like I'm definitely like cautious about what's going to happen with the celebrity stuff. Hopefully it's relatively inconsequential and does not take up a ton of screen time, and we can kind of like yada yada over it, and the twists that get introduced are not like completely game breaking.
Yeah.
Who was, and I forget if we talked about this when we did the preview show. Who's the one player that is not in that in 50 that you had wished was that realistically probably would have played again? I mean, for me, the biggest was Penner, which seems like Penner made one of the final cuts, from my understanding. Or he was very close. Penner was one I desperately wanted to see play again live. Penner is probably my number one that I can think of, just because I now know how close he was.
Yeah, I think for me it's Sesternino, but I mean we're getting him on the traders, so I can't be that upset.
Yeah. Well, I was very excited when I heard Sean from Marquesas was in the mix, and then he didn't get on, and I was like, oh, why did he let us know that? If they're not going to put it's that Kevin Garnett meme. It was like, why would you show it to me if you're not going to let me have it?
Yeah.
Like, he's someone who totally deserves to play again, and I was just surprised that he was still open to it this long after it. But even Boston Rob likes being like, yeah, Sean should get invited back wasn't enough, which surprised me.
I am so I'm very happy the likes of like Boston Rob. It seems like she wanted to come back, but I'm happy like Parvati's not coming back. And like especially after everything with Survivor Australia, I'm fingers crossed that whole Survivor or US versus the world or Survivor World All-Stars that ends up coming to be with a majority of the US players, sort of similar how they did with Australia. I'm not like upset that we're not getting Boston Rob or Parvati, especially Boston Rob, who I love. We've had our Boston Rob fixing the past year, which has been great. It's been awesome. I think it's been good for reality TV overall.
Chad said Lil.
Resurgence.
Lil from Pearl Islands. Yeah, it was unfortunate she couldn't make it out.
One I heard, and I think I mentioned this when we did our preview. One I heard, and I don't want to run on a tangent. Brian Wong was a big fan of our short episodes, and so he's not going to love this. Vesepia was
finale. We're sorry, Brian.
Vesepia was one that was very interesting.
Yeah.
Where I know a lot of people wanted to see her play again, but she's 60 years old. It's like a lot of these people have like kind of aged out of their Survivor playing, which is unfortunate.
Yeah, that's why you should go on the Traders. Like
Traders is the perfect. You're basically going on vacation. You get to judge people. You get to backstab people. Like
if you like campy as hell.
If you were told right now to go on Traders or Survivor, which one would you pick?
Traders. I don't want to. When I was younger, I desperately wanted to go on Survivor. Now I do not want to sleep on a beach with rats and shit running around me. No way. So Traders every day.
Yeah, I mean the issue with it would have to be a all like not celebrity version of the Traders.
Yeah, right.
I would not want to go on like a mixed season of the Traders, like a season 1 of US or like a Canada version where like half the cast.
Traders should do that twist that Celebrity Big Brother UK did, where they just say that this person's a celebrity when they're not.
Yeah, I mean, like for me, it's just like you basically just can't win in those formats. It's just not. It's so difficult as a player coming into one of those mixed formats to win. So like it would have to be like all civilian version of the Traders, or I would have to have already gone on a different show or something like that.
Yeah, well. That is a season now, right? They're doing the civilian Traders.
Well, yeah, I mean, like other countries do have like the UK version, like they have their own version. They also did their celebrity version separately.
Yeah. Which I like, honestly.
I think that's like a reasonable way to do it.
We do realize that Travis Kelce's mom is going to be a murdering.
I hope so. I said as soon as the cast dropped, I wanted her in the turn.
That is, once again, I think I came out very high in Survivor. Very much looking forward to 50. I am very, very looking forward to Traders. I think that is going to be a nice palate cleanser heading into 50. That's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a very fun January and February for us.
Yeah, I agree. I can't wait for the Traders. I think we got a lot of good stuff coming up. I'm rapidly not believing that there'll be a Big Brother season this winter, just because I feel like we would have heard about it by now.
I had already been over that for a long time at this point. I did not even know that was even still on the table.
Yeah, well, I hadn't mentioned it in a while, so I felt like I should update
Yeah.
people on how I feel. It's not happening.
Yeah.
All right. I guess before we go, I do want to shout out our chat. This has been a very active chat tonight. So
Yeah.
Tatsu,
Well, we're
Polar,
really holding it down for us.
yeah,
That's
really appreciate it. Please come back, season 50. Would love to have you talk. You're officially our number one chatter, so thank you.
yes, number one fan of the show.
Well,
For sure.
that might be Brian Wong, but Tatsu and Brian
fair,
Wong
fair.
can fight it out.
He's the number one fan of the Better Radio Empire.
Yes. Yes.
Most referenced person to not make an appearance on the show. Him and Bagel Boss.
Yes, still hold out hope.
Yeah. R.I.P. Maybe. Who knows?
We don't know.
Yeah, we don't know. We'll never know.
Legends never die. That was one thing Sandlot taught me. Legends never die. Bagel Boss is not dead. And even if his body passes on, his soul is not dead.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. His spirit, his soul lives within us.
Jesus.
I think this season was a lot of fun. I think this is one of the most fun I've had recording this season, just because things got very messy. I think we got the experience of Savannah and Rizzo. I enjoyed it. So I think 49, even though a topsy-turvy season overall, I think that this was a very fun season recording. So I'm gonna miss you guys for 2 weeks, but then we're back for Traders, and that's gonna be a lot of fun.
Yeah, we gotta always talk Wicked Show too. If you're desperately jonesing.
I said the two guarantees of our show is that at the end we will talk about games we're playing. Brian and I talking about that we're going to stream together soon, and that Wicked Good Show is coming back at some point. We did have that one episode over the summer, but no, I'm definitely I'm down.
Every time I'm just gonna put we're back every time, and then just dip for a month.
No, we've I mean, Brian and I too have talked about like a bunch of different projects that we like, keep thinking about doing and almost doing and then promising and then not doing. So like, we'll get there eventually.
Yeah. Listen, it's hard sometimes, but we've at least been consistent with this show, which I'm very proud of.
Yes.
By far right now, the flagship of the Better Radio. As the Better Radio podcast died, this took its place.
Yeah, we've always been very good historically, or we're relatively good at talking about reality TV. Mm-hmm. It's currently airing seasons of reality TV that we care about and are watching. Any further extensive projects, mixed results, I would say.
Yep. Well, if you're somehow not sick of hearing my voice, check out our other channels. The main channel, Wicked Good Everything, mostly video games there. Then nerd and pop culture news over on Those Fake Nerds. Also sports news, Wicked Good Sports. And of course, this channel is Better Radio, which hosts all of our podcasts, mostly about reality television. So other than that, Dylan, anything you want to promote?
No, as always, keep, I think as we move into, like I said, what is going to be a very fun January, February, and then really the rest of spring, definitely stick along with us. There's always going to be usually at least two of us here, unless it's a week we have to take off. So I like doing the live streams a lot. It seems like, especially people we know are going to chime in for live streams. I think a lot more people are getting hip to traders too, which is great. So, no, I'm looking forward to it. Just keep following us. Brian does a lot of work trying to get our videos promoted. Ben does a lot of work. So I think we're in our best stretch of our podding career coming up. So I'm really looking forward to that.
No, I mean, I love live streaming so much, and I never do it. But every time I do it, I'm like, I love live streaming. It's just a fun format, Ben, anything you want to promote? Happy birthday again.
Happy birthday, Ben.
I didn't realize what day it was.
No, you're good. I barely remembered that myself until I started getting text messages, and I was like, oh, okay.
Anything you want to promote?
No, I'm just like what you guys said. I'm very excited for, got like 2 weeks from now, or the Traders is starting, or maybe 3 weeks. I think actually 3 weeks. I think from today is the premiere.
I think it's 3 weeks. Yeah.
Yeah, three weeks exactly from today is the premiere of the Trader season 4. I'm very excited for that, and then obviously we're gonna go straight into Strider 50. Like basically, we're literally gonna overlap at the very end. So yeah, we're just going full
we
speed
back
ahead.
at least for one of those weeks for the draft.
Yes.
Yep.
So, yeah, we're not stopping. You know, we're saying goodbye to season 49 of Survivor, but we're not stopping.
Right. Yeah, never stop. Like, you know, we've said, Ben and I have been here since the beginning. If we haven't stopped by now.
Yeah, no, I think the first season of Survivor Brian and I ever podcasted about was like Caramoan or Blood versus Water or something like that. Like this was like,
yeah, definitely was Caramoan.
Yeah, so it was around that. I remember doing at the very least the preview podcast for Blood versus Water, and and talking about how Tyson can't win.
First one I ever covered back in the day for post. What was it? The
oh my god, no, it was oh my god, my brain is mush now.
Previously on network.
Previously on network.
Yeah. My first was One World, all the way back then, talking about Colton getting medevaced, I believe.
Yeah. So, yeah, we've been at it for over a decade.
Mm-hmm. And you know what? I love it. I love Survivor, even though it's not what it once was. I've steeled myself to that, which is why Survivor can't disappoint me anymore.
Yeah, we're here until it's dead, until they finally decide to bring it out back and shoot it.
Yep. I'd love to do a live stream of I don't know, Baldur's Gate or maybe Divinity Original Sin 2. Now that that's gonna come out soon. So
Yes. Or we do a live stream of Russian roulette, and we decide who will remain on the podcast if three's a crowd. We could do that too. I'm the dark humor guy on this podcast. Yeah, I agree. Lots we got to do. I think a group stream of like Baldur's Gate, something like that. Maybe one of like the Jackbox games,
or even Mario Party. Yeah, Jackbox.
I think Jackbox would be a lot of fun. I think stuff like that. I think because we can include other people coming in from our Better Radio universe to play that, so that'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah, be good. We could get the Wicked Good Sports guys on too. Be a good time.
Yes. So yeah, please hang out for that.
You're a Wicked Good Sports guy. You've been on that.
I am. You're right. I am an official correspondent.
Or Notre Dame correspondent.
Don't want to talk about that right now.
Not right now. Not right now. I'm sorry.
We're not talking about Notre Dame and college football until August 2026. Because it is dead to me until then. But I would happily talk about it.
Your coach didn't sleep with an assistant and get caught and he's sent to the hospital.
The only consistent thing in my life is Marcus Freeman being a good man. So
right, yeah,
it's not something I have to worry about.
But yeah, next year will be better for Notre Dame.
I have had to pee for about 45 minutes now, so I am going to shout out Tatsu, shout out Mean Girl Lauren, and shout out Brian Wong as always.
Shout out.
This has been a very fun season. Thank you.
Thanks for watching, everybody.